What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Not Bland Show. And I know we are late, but we are not disqualified. So what I did there? We'll talk about it later. Want to thank our sponsors, Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It was another wild one. And if you won, good, you survived. I didn't. Again, this has been an ugly season. It's been an ugly season for a lot of us. And it just keeps getting uglier for some. Dave W. extends the points lead in the Not Bland Show League. Yeah, not happy about it. But anyway, want to thank Everything Nitro. Want to thank SportsJourney.com. And today we have Dystany Spurlock. What a great debut. Bike comes out right off the trailer, runs an excellent number. I'm looking forward to talking with her and you guys getting an opportunity to know her. And she'll be in Indy, biggest race of the year. So I'm looking forward to this conversation. I'm looking forward to having our lovely segment, Let Me Talk to You, because I got a lot to say about this whole disqualification issue. But we'll save that for the second half of the show. Man, what a weekend, though. It's amazing that cars went down the track as hot as it was. And it's amazing if your bracket survived. If you have not signed up for this, then I don't know what you're doing with your life, but it's time for you to get on board. And this is how you do it.
Drag racing fans, check out Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It's the free, family-friendly fantasy bracket game. Now, after final qualifying at every national event, you can fill out your bracket for all the pro classes.
It's free, easy to click on your picks. If you need some help, just hit the randomizer button to fill in the blanks. It's for fun, stay engaged, and pick your winners today.
So let's do it. What's going on? It's Dystany Spurlock, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing tonight? I don't know if she can hear me. Can you hear me? Oh, no. We had the camera issue. Oh, the camera came back. Yeah, we're good. Yeah. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. You know, you caught me in the middle of putting on some lip gloss, but it's all good. I'm great. How are you?
Getting ready for the show. Man, I'm doing so good. Great weekend. It was awesome to see you take the track, especially with the Aranas. How did that all come about? And how did you get involved with the Aranas and being able to kick off your pro stock debut this past weekend?
So first and foremost, none of this would have happened without Fox Tekka, as you see. They came on board, I want to say maybe in March. We had a whole conversation. They're like, hey, Dystany, we want to sponsor you. I'm like, okay, this is great. The owners, Kelly and Chris, I had known Chris for maybe 4 years. So he really was the push behind. He always said, if I can make it happen, I'll make it happen. So they came on board. We were talking to two different teams. The first one we went to, they already had people that were renting their bikes. So we were like, okay, who can we go to next? So Hector and I were supposed to talk maybe 2 years ago. We never got the chance to talk. But somehow we end up getting together to be able to speak between me, him, his dad, and my sponsors. And they loved everything that I wanted to do. They loved everything my sponsor stood for. So they're like, let's do it. We went testing. Everything worked well. And they're like, it's a green light. Let's go.
That's awesome. That is awesome. You guys came off the trailer. First pass 694 to 8.
Yeah.
I thought that was excellent. I know what everybody else did. I don't really care. To come off the trailer with that first pass and to lay down that type of a number, it showed a level of confidence from your side in knowing how to ride this bike and do it well. But Arana's putting it together as well, giving you a bike that would come out and show up and show out.
Absolutely. They did an amazing job. Like I told them, I love everything that they stand for from on and off the track. The family dynamic that they have is amazing. And then all the hard work that they put in to make sure those bikes are top tier is phenomenal. So listen, I was nervous because I didn't get the only testing that I really got was when I was getting my license. And that was a handful of passes. It wasn't
Wow.
the 2 digits. So right before, race day, I'm like, y'all, I'm nervous. Everybody's like, don't worry, you got it. I'm like, I'm glad y'all think so, because the nerves that I feel inside of me is crazy right now. But honestly, once it came for qualifier number 1, I had no nerves. It was like everything went away, and it was like I had been doing this for years.
Right.
Go down the track, go the 698, and I get at the end, they're like, yeah, you want a 698. I'm like, what? Not me. Okay. So yeah, they were killing it. And I had a 109 60 foot, which was a slower 60 foot than what we normally have, but we still pulled off a good number for Q1. So
Yeah, definitely. I felt that way too. It's just as hot as it was, and then you add in all these factors, and you had to ride it a little bit on the top end. It was kind of drifting a little bit, and I'm just like, wow, you just get thrown at everything here, and you're just handling it like a pro, like you've done this before. It was impressive to watch.
Thank you. Yeah, that at the top end, that was kind of crazy because we don't just get off the throttle, and let the bike slow itself down. We want to try to save the clutch as much as possible. And I think what happened was I allowed too much time to grab. I didn't just go for it. I kind of went like that, and it just pulled me to the wall. I said, okay, wall, not today, not ever. We're not going over here. We're going to save you, okay, to race another day.
Right.
But I will say, I feel like that comes from the experience that I have over the 17 years that I've been racing on all different types of bikes. Every type of bike may be different from a pro stock, but it all helps me to be able to maneuver on a pro stock bike.
Because those other bikes you have ridden and ride are way more squirrely than that. The ones you ride, I'm just like, yeah, nah, I don't have the guts to do that. Tell everybody some of the classes that you have ridden in, kind of where you got your start at with riding a bike.
Okay, so I started riding at 16 years old, but the series that I come from, it started off as My Rock series. Then it changed to IDBL. Now it's currently XDA. And I also did some racing in Man Cup as well. But the classes that I've raced in, oh gosh, let's start. We had Crazy Eights. We had 560 Index. We had the 460 Index class, the Real Street class, Top Sportsman class, Street ET class, Pro ET class, Top Sportsman. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's everything. Yeah. Oh, and Super Stop, which was my favorite, because that's pretty much a bike you buy off the showroom floor and you have to ride it.
Yeah, that is no joke. I have only ridden one bike, and it was I loved the GSXR. It was a 600. I loved that style of bike. And it was interesting. My buddy was kind enough to let me. He just sent me off and let me ride through the neighborhood. It's different. You got to really get used to kind of being one with the bike. But I didn't have enough guts to follow completely through and get my license and actually continue to ride. Yeah, just ain't my thing.
Look, that's okay. Stay on the 4 wheels. You're good.
Yeah, I'd rather have the 4 wheels. Makes me more comfortable.
Yes.
But for those you don't know, those are some tough classes. You're talking about some classes that don't have wheelie bars. I mean, you can just search a lot of this stuff if you're not familiar. It is great racing. Those are great classes. And to me, if you pay attention to Richard, if you pay attention to, Gage, I believe their latest pickup with the the rental bike, he comes from that as well.
Mhm.
Those to me are some of the best riders out there because they've dealt with every aspect of riding a bike. And now this with it's a kind of a bigger wheelbase, it's a bigger tire. It's almost comes natural now because you've dealt with all these other small tire type bikes.
Yes and no. So I will
Okay.
say, because everybody's like, okay, you've raced 460, and that's a bar bike as well, but it has a bigger tire than the one that the Pro Stock bike has. So they're like, oh yeah, it'll be easy. Yeah, no, not at all. I would say the Pro Stock bike is less forgiving than like the 460 bike.
Yeah.
And the Pro Stock bike in comparison to like, your stock Gixxer 1000s, no wheelie bar bikes, it's no comparison. They are day and night.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is a interesting note. We learned something here today.
That's just my opinion. Somebody else may say different, but that's
right.
from my experience.
Interesting. Your Q2 and Q3 numbers were again impressive. 689 with a 7 in Q2, and then you guys backed that up with a 687 flat. It was the 6th best ET of that session in Q3.
Not too bad.
No.
And you got to think, like I said, we had no testing. So,
yeah.
We haven't even found our max potential on the bike yet. Like our mile per hour was even low. We were 194. So there's still room for improvement there. But I think we did amazing.
I do too. In the elimination one though, it went 699. Any particular reason why?
Yeah. First, when I left, it bogged. So when it bogged, I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to be good. So when I say I'm tucking for dear life, I'm like, go, baby, go. Enough. I think the track was too tight, honestly, from the previous day. And we thought the weather was better, but it's okay. We
it happens.
Learn. We're going to get some more testing in before Indy, and hopefully we will not have that issue for elimination number 1.
I had you picked in Drag Race Bracket Bonanza first round. Just saying.
Sorry.
No, it's cool. It's cool. Sometimes you gotta go with your gut, and if everything works right, I think you win.
Yeah,
I really do. You were right there. If you had that 687, it would have been very interesting.
Exactly.
Very interesting.
And that was the slowest run we had of the whole weekend.
Yep.
The 699, I think.
Yes.
I was like, what is that? But it's all right.
It was a great debut for you and your sponsor as well. Tell us a little bit about what Fox Tekka actually is and what do they do?
So Fox Tekka is so amazing. They're a new company. They're an event and media company. And so they help people that look like me or underdogs or people that have the talent, but they just don't have anybody to give them a chance. So they're working their way to find new talent and things like that to get them exposure in whatever space it is that they do. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's good stuff because that's needed for sure.
Absolutely.
Definitely needed.
And if you hear my dog, don't mind him. I have a Connie Corso, and he is very attached.
I love those dogs.
He'll be barking right now.
Yes, I love those dogs. They are beautiful. They are beautiful. I have a friend of mine who he breeds them, and man, he does a hell of a job. So much work goes into it, from testing to getting all the right, things. He does it the right way. Cost him a lot, but he does it the right way, and the product shows in the dog. I love those type of dogs, though.
Oh,
they're beautiful.
Awesome. Yes,
they are beautiful. So, there is a chance you will be in Indy, and will it be with the Aranas as well?
Yes, it will be with Team Arana and Fox Tekka again. I'm really excited because that's the biggest race of the year. And it's also the first NHRA race that I've ever been to in my life. This was like back in 2011, maybe 2010. Yeah. So to actually be able to race at the first NHRA track race that I went to, it's gonna be phenomenal.
That is so awesome. I was thinking about this whole time when you were mentioned that you were going to be there. We haven't seen a black female in pro stock motorcycle since Peggy Llewellyn.
Yes. And I listen,
One of the great
absolutely.
Peggy Llewellyn.
Absolutely. I love Peggy. I think I vaguely met her like one time, like, hey, and that was it.
Yeah.
But I would love to be able to meet her, talk to her, just learn about her career throughout NHRA Pro Stock Motorcycle, because she has really paved the way for women that, look like me. And it's so amazing because and the reason I say that is because I do a lot of career days in like inner city schools, and it's so many children that don't even know racing exists, or either that motorcycles is a thing, and a girl doing it.
Yeah.
So I thank Peggy Llewellyn so much for stepping outside the box, doing it, and paving the way for those to come after her. So
yeah, I thought about that too. Representation is everything. And it helps when others can see someone like them doing something of this magnitude. What are some of the things that you have been able to kind of share with some of the youth as you've been coming up through this process to get to where you were this past weekend?
So, okay, when you say share, like how deep you want me to go?
As deep as you'd like. We got time.
So, for example, I used to mentor. Well, at first I was a student with a group called Girls for a Change, and then I was a mentor. So I've known them since I was in high school. So I wanted to be able to give back to them. So my sponsors, we were able to get a bus to get 50 girls to come out to watch me race. So I would say I'm gonna start there because they were able to help me in school, to learn about what it is to become a young woman. And I wanted to be able to give back to them, to show them, hey, I've been at this since I was a student, dang near almost a mentor with Girls for a Change. So if I can be an example for you guys, regardless if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be a veterinarian, whatever it is, don't give up on your dreams. Like, look at me. It took me 17 years to get here, but I'm a prime example of don't give up, keep going. You can cry it out, but get back up and we're going to try it again. And also I have a foundation called What's Your Destiny Foundation. And my hopes are to be able to sponsor 5 kids every year to learn how to race junior dragsters, and learn things on and off the track. So I'm all about uplifting the community, helping get more exposure in the motorsports world, because we're going to need some more people to come after us. So
yeah, definitely. And what are some of the difficulties that have been? It's already tough enough, whether it's in motorsports in any form, when it comes down to women in working and being leaders. But what are some of the difficulties as a Black woman that you have found difficult when it comes down to sponsorships? Because, that is not easy in itself, for anyone for that matter. So what are some of the difficulties from that side have you faced?
I would have to say you get a lot of over promising and under delivering. Like, people like the concept, they love the idea of it. They're like, you have the image, you have everything, your total package, but it's almost like they're just scared because, one, there's only been one outside of me, Peggy. So it's like they're either nervous of how to go about it, or they don't want to do something wrong, or something like that. And the challenge that I faced before I actually got into pro stock was they had never seen me race pro stock motorcycle. So they're like, we know you can race all these other bikes, but can you really race a pro stock bike? And I'm like, I can. They're like, okay, well, we want to see it. I'm like, but it costs money. I have to rent a bike. I have to get testing.
Right.
Like, yeah, we'll wait till we see it. So that's been a huge challenge.
But I think now you are on one of the biggest stages, a great weekend in Richmond, Virginia, as we know it as Dinwiddie, Virginia, and you put on display that you clearly can do this. Like I said, the numbers off the trailer, but just simply watching you ride, some of the adversity you had to face within those different passes, I think it's pretty clear that Dystany can ride a pro stock motorcycle.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the future and how all of this plays out. I think that's the initial thing, is people being seen and being able to be seen doing something. And now there's no selling. There's no more selling anymore. The tape is there, and the
Yes.
tape don't lie.
That.
So you'll be able to do this again on what is the biggest race of drag racing. It's going to be fun. You'll get, what is it? There's 5 qualifying sessions in this thing.
It's like one every day or something.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah.
So it will be all on display, but there's plenty of tape there. And I'm excited for you. You know, I know that there was some time where right before COVID, it seemed like you were going to break through. COVID happens. We have some setbacks there, but you didn't allow that to stop you. And look, you're here now.
I am here. Like I own my own pro stock bike. Like I went out, got my own bike, and all that. And I'm like, yeah, let's keep pushing. It's like, nope.
It's this one, guys.
Yep, that's it. I'm like, this is gonna cost way more than what I, projected it to.
Yeah.
So we gotta figure this out.
What type of bike did you purchase?
A Buell. Also,
I love those, actually.
Listen, can we talk about that real quick?
Yes.
So when I first started talking about getting into pro stock, they're like, well, you want to ride a Suzuki or you want to ride a Buell? Me, I love a challenge. I'm like, I want a Buell. They're like, but they shake and do all this. I'm like, I don't care. So what? They're like, but you're so small. It's fine. It's cool. I've been in male-dominated sports my whole life. Like, I can do it. So now once I actually got to ride one and race one, I don't feel any of this stuff that people are saying. Like, the vibration, I don't feel it. It feels so normal to me. But I love my Buell. I love the way it sounds, because it sounds like real, like, cool. I love it. I love my Buell.
I am definitely partial to Buells over Suzukis. They're no disrespect to the Suzuki.
Yeah.
I just like the way they sound. It's a whole different sound. They leave different. The whole thing is just it adds. It's like a little seasoning. You know what I mean? It's like having that Lowry's. You know.
That's perfect. Put a little season on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am. I love everything that has been presented here. So some of the things that you experienced during the race, what are some things that you didn't know, and some of the things that you were kind of surprised by being in a national event?
I had no Oh, look at the picture. I had no expectations, honestly. I just wanted to go out there, learn as much as I could, and have fun. I told you I didn't think that I was gonna do really well my first pass, but after being on the bike and going down the track, I'm like, oh yeah, we got this. This is cool. Like, we have nothing to worry about. Literally, I had no pressure from the cameras, from the crowd, because that was a big concern. A lot of people kept coming up to me. They're like, don't worry about the cameras. I'm like, y'all, I've been doing this for 17 years, just not on this level. So I've had the cameras in my face. I've had the people all around me. That is nothing to me. Like, this is second nature. So it was like I felt at home once I got there. So
how did the you got a chance to leave and be around Angie Smith, some of the others there. What was that like?
I've been around them too for years, because I go to like all the trade shows, the SEMAs, the PRIs. So again,
there was nothing new. There was nothing new. You've been around these people before.
Yeah, just haven't been on the stage yet.
Yeah,
so it was normal.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's half the battle right there. Yeah. So you're already comfortable, and it's just a matter of finding that level of comfortability on the bike, and you were able to do that. So that's half of it right there. There's just Ryan Elliott. I won't miss it this time, Ryan. I won't miss it this time. Ryan says, watched her in Indy test. She's a natural, and I can confirm I would drive in fire with no fire suit in a funny car at night before I drive a bike.
love that.
You and me both, Ryan. You and me both. I do it any day. And you know me, I don't want motors in front of me. I'd rather have them in the back.
Yeah.
But I do that before ever stepping on a motorcycle. I teased
so
Eddie
funny.
once about yeah, let's do it. Let's do this. No. I'll watch from afar. I'll sit on it, but I won't be riding that. No.
Listen, if it has a motor and wheels, I want. It doesn't even have. No, if it has a motor, because I'll race a sports. What's those boats called? Like the speedboat.
Oh yeah, the race boats. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do any of that.
Sean Reed was one of those guys that raced a race boat too. Those race boats with like funny car motors on them. Yeah. Insane. But he used to race one of those.
I think it's fun. It looks cool.
It does look cool. It looks hair raising, but it looks cool.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I thank you for taking the time to come on the show. I am looking forward to Indy, and maybe we'll have you back on before Indy to talk about Indy, and hopefully we can have, because of this performance, you can have a few more sponsors to come on board for Indy and get displayed as you continue to tackle and show the world that Dystany can do this.
Awesome. Look, yes, I would love more sponsorships, partnerships. Indy will be the only race that we do for the year because I don't want to mess up my rookie season. Yeah. So we're looking for more sponsors to hopefully be able to race a full season next year. So
that'll work. Tell everybody where they can follow you at and kind of follow this journey with you.
Yeah, so first I want to say thank you so much to Fox Tekka. Thank you so much, Arana Racing. Thank you, Worldwide Bearings. Thank all of you guys, all my friends, family, support, and always I have to place God first. But you can find me at Dystany Spurlock on everything. Just Dystany Spurlock.
It's that easy, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Dystany, thank you so much for taking the time to come on. And I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you. I'll see you before Indy.
Indeed. Indeed. Dystany Spurlock, everybody. That was fun. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, when I heard that she was going to be there, I immediately texted Elon and was like, need that interview for Tuesday night. And we delivered. Thanks to Elon. Thank you so much, Elon, for doing that. Really appreciate it. And thanks to Dystany for taking the time to come on the Not Bland show. Look, it is not over. It is now time. We're going to dive into this disqualification deal. And I'm going to let you know what I think about it here right after this commercial break. Talking Funny Cars with Buddy Hull will be back. It looks like Sonoma, when they will have their first episode, I believe, will drop then. I have been staying glued and talking with Elon about it. And as I get more information, I will expand more about Talking Funny Cars with Buddy Hull. But in the meantime, if you have not seen any of last year's episodes, I believe you can find those on their YouTube channel, and you can look for them on the NHRA Fast channels. That would be Sling, Tubi, Roku. Those channels there, you'll be able to find it as, you know, they play a lot of stuff in rotation. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the race that was a very interesting race. A lot of teams navigating a very, very hot racetrack. I believe it was record heat on that racetrack. You know, and it was good stuff, but we had a winner and then we didn't have a winner. And I know there's a lot of people that have thrown fans under the bus. I don't believe any comments were stupid the stupid comments, we already know who they are. They're repetitive, and we don't acknowledge those people. But for the most part, people were expressing their displeasure with the time it took to find out what was going on. If you're not media, you really didn't know. You just knew that there was no results. And many were then, once finding out what the outcome was, didn't necessarily agree. I don't think that's hate nor anger at all. I think it's a fan base showing passion for something, and they don't necessarily agree with the establishment. And we're going to set up a few things here first. Talk about timing. It took 24 hours for us to know what was going on. And I'm going to start before we get into the statements, mainly the statement from the NHRA. Look, you set the standard with Elite Motorsports, and you missed some steps along the way because we didn't talk about Antron's deal. He had to talk about it. The JR Gray deal with the fire bottle and the pin in the bottle, that was sent to the media, was not made public. Look, if you're going to throw out runs and we're going to publish infractions such as what we saw with Sean Langdon and the Elite Motorsports deal, then all infractions need to be made public to the fans and to the media. Because the standard now is the standard, which is the standard that other motorsports follow anyway. So it's not anything new. It's just that sometimes the NHRA lives in the 80s, and it's not that anymore. People are glued in and plugged in through social media. And if you want to be a big boy, because you are the pinnacle, the Taj Mahal, the diamond, the elite of drag racing. You are the WWE of drag racing. This is where people want to come. This is where people strive to be. It's the best of the best. And the organization needs to operate as such. Fans want three things: respect, honesty, transparency. There's a reason for that. There's the reason for the vitriol when things like this happen. Because they're spending their hard-earned money on something. Whether it's gear, whether it's purchasing tickets, the travel, the hotels, to spend on a race in an organization that they care for, but at times runs like it's at amateur night at the Apollo Theater. The standard now is the standard. So now, once we have now established that this is the standard and this is what we need to be doing for all infractions, they need to be made public. Now let's get into this particular infraction. The NHRA says that Sean Langdon's run from the Top Fuel final round on Sunday at Virginia Motorsports Park has been disqualified. The disqualification is due to the rule book violation related to missing bolts on the bell housing inspection cover. Per the NHRA rulebook, a related SFI spec 6.2, the cover is required to be secured by no less than 12 bolts. Soak that in. During a post-race inspection, the cover on Langdon's dragster did not meet the requirement of 12 secure bolts. Therefore, that run was thrown out. Ashley is your winner. Now, let's focus on two things here, which makes this real easy to understand. The NHRA says per spec, the minimum amount of bolts is 12. What they found was less than 12. So then I ask you, why does it take 24 hours to make that call? Stevie Wonder knew what the final outcome was. There's some sort of penalty that's going to come. So you're not deliberating over that rule. It's cut, dry, very clear. And if it's not clear to those who are in tech, that's a problem. But we're not going to go there. Now comes the throwing out of the rule, throwing out of the run, because the bolts were not in, they were in the belly pan. They were present. They found all of them. There were just less than 12 bolts in that bell housing cover. Okay? That's not the same level of safety issues. Now, granted, there has been an incident where that cover was off. It was years ago. Clutch goes into a bunch of pieces. It shoots out, hits a fan, kills a fan. It's only happened once. Of course, you don't ever want it to happen again. But there's also an issue of when or where did that cover completely fall off as the bolts rattled out. Now, I've heard people say, well, you knew what you were doing when you sent it. It wasn't tight and you just decided to send it. Fine. That is worthy of a penalty. Is it worthy for the run to be thrown out? Absolutely not. Having a pin in a fire bottle is not the same as some bolts falling out of a bell housing and being under the allowed mount. It's not the same. Every foul is not a flagrant foul. Every illegal contact is not a pass interference. See, that fire bottle having a pin in it, if there was an accident and that thing blew up, well, fire bottles can't go off, can they? Now, that's a big safety infraction. That's costing the driver. If he gets involved with some other folks, it could be a big issue. The thing with Erica Enders, I can kind of understand. And I'm playing devil advocate here. It's a tire that has not been tested on a pro stock car. So therefore, they don't really know how that tire is going to react. Now, they're on other cars that make and do way more than what the pro stock is doing. I'm just trying to see it from their side. So therefore, that can be a safety issue because we don't know what's going to happen if said tire decides to give way, blow up, whatever. I understand that. Hasn't been tested, tried, or proven. So I understand the throwing out of the run, the fine, and the points deduction. This simply could have been a fine and a points deduction. Or it could have just been a fine. It could have been a points deduction. These two are not like the other. And I know other examples have been brought up of other things, but these are not one and the same. At all. So that's where I have a problem. And now you have set a precedence. Now the standard is no matter how small the infraction, if it's a safety issue, your run will be thrown out. And don't at me with BS because that is now the standard. And anything less, you will have smoke and fire from other crew members and crew chiefs who really aren't happy about this ruling, believe it or not, to tell the truth. Because that's what we're about. But some of you seem to be playing dumb and are just as counterfeit bills, making excuses. And yet, the NHRA acts like they're always being attacked all the time. When you do things like this, it's going to be scrutinized. The NFL gets scrutinized all the time. You're way down on the totem pole as far as scrutiny goes. But if you want to play ball in the big leagues, you got to act like a big league operation and do the right things. So this is your call now. This is the call. Run is thrown out. So now every small infraction that is safety related, the run will be thrown out. Anything less is going to cause an upheaval. There's levels to this, man. There are really levels to this. And in infractions, there are levels to severity of infractions. And this simply could have been a fine. Because, if I've seen people say, well, they won't do that again. Well, if they got fined, they wouldn't have done it again either. Because nobody wants to pay out money and lose money, throwing it away. Getting fined is like taking money out back and putting it in a fire pit and burning it. Nobody wants to do that. That's taking money out of somebody's pocket. That's parts. That's fuel contributing. That's travel. Nobody wants to do that. So a mistake of that magnitude could have just been done that way. I don't agree with this at all. I don't think it was well thought through. And as much time as you had, this was already known by some of us in the media before this ever even dropped. So what are we talking about here? It's not whenever you get to it. The fans want an immediate response. Another problem, you've got Play NHRA that's going on. People are betting money. And I'm sure if you pay attention to the NFL with some of the BS that goes on there, some of the whack calls that get made when they should clearly understand the simple rule and it's costing people money, they're going to have something to say about it. So no, it's not stupid comments. It's complete and utter vitriol for the simple fact that we have this issue and nobody wanted to speak about it until way, way later, like this rule was so darn confusing. And it wasn't. This is a fifth grader could figure that out. Let's go to the comments. Drag Race Mayhem says, oh, okay, we'll go to the next one. This professional motorsports, ladies and gentlemen. Exactly. It's not that hard. Everything Nacho says, as long as people are talking NHRA drag racing, it's great. Exactly. People, it's something to talk about. Just as much as anything dealing with this elite situation. Because it's going to be talked about, and then we're going to bring it up in Norwalk. Because guess what? They got a shootout, and it's Elite versus KB. We're back at it again. It keeps the cycle going. Drag Race Band says, NHRA calls themselves a professional motorsports and acts anything but at times like this. Yes, and that's all people are asking for. That's why people have made the comments that they made. And to discredit racers who race for the NHRA, they have a right to have their opinion on how they feel. Because some of those people are getting a shaft when there's any type of weather or oil down. So they have a right to feel a certain way. Dave W. says, so really, how about this hot take? IHRA is getting ready to debut with a bunch of NHRA underfunded nitro racers, among others. NHRA offers cheap, maybe he said IHRA offers cheap license cross grade for drivers with other series. I like it. He says, now every race has had some sort of tech DQ and story to keep people talking about them for days after the event and not on the IHRA. Yeah, I mean, it does keep people talking. Dave W says NHRA is out here going, hey, look at us. Hey, nothing to see there. We're the show. Talk about us every day. And then when we get talked about because of an infraction, you guys want to poo-poo on people and call people dumb. Unless you're a Scott Foster, then it is. Drag Race Mayhem says IHR is going to be interesting. Their social media is already decent for not running a race in the Nitro Series. Agreed. I think it's quite interesting what we're seeing from them. Their little teasers and things of that nature. I think that they're locked and loaded and ready to go. And they're keeping it under wraps until it's time to unleash it. And I hope that this is a success. I hope it's a success for a lot of the smaller teams with the money that is available on tap. That could change people's lives big time and assist them in running more NHRA events because of it. It's some good dollars out there to be made. Dave W says, and the streaming video announcement is coming, already teasing there are going to have more than full fields, enough, even though it's an 8-car show and a dropping. I love what they're doing. The excitement, the building of it is great, and I'm looking forward to see what they use here when it comes to the streaming service, what we're going to be using. I am looking forward to that because I want to see it. Drag Race Mayhem says, well, in NHRA's defense, what is NHRA supposed to do? Points, penalties are meaningless now. How else do you, as a sanctioned body, make a statement? Taking the trophy away means way more than some points. But here's my problem with that. There is levels to this. You can make a statement all day long, but the statement to me is asinine. You're saying that missing bolts are on the same level as having a pin in a fire bottle. Those two safety issues are not the same. So am I going to get my run DQ'd because I made a pass with my visor up? That's a safety issue. But that's exactly what you're saying by doing this. Now every small infraction is a D&Q. You can try to talk your ass out of it all you want to, but that's the statement you made by doing this. Because money means a lot too to these teams. It ain't cheap to be running out here with all these tariffs and lack of parts and all these different things they've got to contend with. Money's an issue because the economy ain't great. So I think dollars mean a lot in this sport. Dave W says it was a fine and points penalty. They lost 20 points and $30K in addition to the trophy. If that's the case, now you're just going over the top. You could have just left it at that. Caleb says, like Roger Goodell coming up with different suspensions for the same thing. Exactly. That's my damn point. This ain't the same, though. Now, you've made it the same. And you made every other small infraction the same. Dave W says, probably took 24 hours to clear with Play NHRA because you get paid as soon as the run is over. And they had to take all that money back and give it back out to Justin Ashley bettors. I wonder if they did that because I'm like, I hope y'all got paid. Because I don't know how they pull that back. Because it hits your account right away, doesn't it? I mean, how do you pull that back? Dave W says you can instant cash out too and not have it in your account. Good luck getting that back. Exactly. That's my whole thought. Like, that's why this is more important, and timing is more important than anything. I mean, media have stories to write. There's reporting that needs to be done. There's play NHRA now. This is not a mom and pop operation. You're the pinnacle of drag racing. And if we don't have enough people to get statements out, then stop being cheap and hire some people. Or some folks need to step their game up. I don't know what it is. But there's no reason why that needed to take 24 hours when most media knew that Ashley was going to be named the winner. And again, the rule was cut and dry. A fifth grader could understand that that was an infraction. Memphis Lonnie says, is it true that during qualifying rounds of Pro Stock that Richard Freeman will be suspended over the track in a cage? That's funny. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Richard wouldn't even go for that. He'd be RKOing people. Yeah, I got it. I got the wrestling deal. Nitro Performance Guy says they don't know what they know what they want. They don't. I don't know, man. Like I said, very frustrating, and I feel bad. Like I said, this is the standard now. This is the standard now, and that's hefty because you can't backtrack from this now. And if you do, not only will the people let you know, but the racers will too. If IHRA streamer is anything other than Flow, it's a loss in my opinion. I don't know. I don't think Flow's that great. That's why they don't have a whole lot of stuff being streamed on it. My humble opinion. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Your winner's Justin Ashley. From what I understand, they didn't even want to take a picture. They didn't even want to acknowledge it. And I don't blame them. Nobody wants to win like that for real. And again, I don't think that's the right call. I really don't. I don't think that's the right call at all. It's way over the top. And now it's going to be hard to reel that back in without causing an uproar among teams if this infraction, this type of penalty doesn't go forth at all. And I will say this too. It is not the driver's job to announce any infractions because I don't think, did the NHRA not learn from Bob Tasca getting ahead of his infractions and creating the narrative that he was being singled out? Now you had to go clean up the mess. You think the NFL allows teams to put out statements ahead of them? Absolutely not on infractions. On any type of fines or penalties? No, they don't. Not at all. They get ahead of it because that's what the establishment does. You can't let the inmates run the asylum and hope that they're going to be truthful and forthright. It's not even their job to do that at all. You just got good people that are drivers and teams that are willing to be an open book. Because I can guarantee you there ain't not one NASCAR team that's going to come out and admit that they were wrong. They're going to make sure if they can get ahead of it, they're going to spin it in their direction and try to make you, as the establishment, look stupid. So I don't agree with that at all. It is your job. You are the establishment. You create and enforce the rules. It is your job to make sure that the media and the fans alike know when there has been a penalty leveled and there's been a D&Q of a run, especially. Not the drivers. Everything Nacho says, damned if they do, damned if they don't. People won't make an issue regardless of the outcome. Of course, that's people. We see that all the time. I mean, we can't in this country. We can't even agree to disagree anymore. Like, it's just how it is. It's unfortunate that that's the world that we live in, but it's like, if you're the establishment, you should understand that and not go pouting and stomping your feet and complaining about it. You already know this is what's going to happen. This is the world we live in. You're not the only one. You're not the victim here. It happens to everyone. Some more than others, especially when we talk about the NFL, who is America's pastime. It's not baseball. It hasn't been for years. Memphis Lonnie says, seriously, I've never been to Norwalk, but isn't the area around the starting line kind of close? Yes, it is just like Bristol. They funnel in and out in the same area. There is no, you go to your corner and the other team goes out their corner. No. Everybody goes out the same way. That's what's going to make this interesting. I love it. I love every bit of it. That's what's going to make this interesting, is the close knit of that starting line. And of course, with the shootout, there's money on the line. So you know how that goes. It's going to be high and intense, and I like it. All good stuff. Thank you. Appreciate it. Dave W. says 7 different winners in the first 9 races of the NHRA Top Fuel season. Parity, baby. Yes, it is. It is parity at its finest. And I think that's something that we can take away from this season. And I know we've said it over the last couple of years about this is the best season, this is the best season, this is the best season. But it has been getting better and better every year. And I think what we're finding this year is the level of parity that's out there among the classes. I mean, when a Buddy Hull can consistently produce the numbers we think they can produce at 4.0s, they can beat someone. Dave Richards can beat someone. It is no give-me's out here. None at all. And I think that's why you kind of have to say that in the era that we are in now, I think we're in the greatest era of drag racing that we've ever seen. And that's me being an 80s baby. I mean, you have to sit back and be totally honest with yourself when you're looking at the spectrum of drag racing and the cars that we had out there. Sure, there were 19, 20 cars showing up to events for qualifying, but there was like 8 that were good. You knew the first couple rounds, unless one of those 8 cars met in the first round, you are pretty much knew who was going to win and who was going to smoke them up, unless they had some type of clutch malfunction or flat out blew up. Those teams were likely going to win. And in some classes, it wasn't even 8 cars that were good. Top to bottom, whether you have 14 or 17 or 18, every car, if they make the show, has the ability to be dangerous and go rounds. I think we're in the best time for NHRA drag racing, and adding an IHRA, allowing these smaller teams to get more passes, make a little money, figure their stuff out, and then when they actually come out to an NHRA event, they're even more polished. That's not good for the big teams, but it's good for fans. Drag Race Mayhem says Flow has DI Winter Series. Sure, and that's a short time. PDRA Midwest Drag Racing Series. I don't know when their racing is, but I didn't think it was for a long period of time. and the Pro Superstar Shootout, Radio Outlaws. I thought all that stuff happens in a compact window, though. I could be wrong. But they had a lot more stuff. But that's just my opinion. I get what you're saying, though. That's just my opinion. My opinion. Definitely not crapping on you at all. Because there's some things, those series you speak of, I do like a lot. Very good, close, racing, fun, a lot of great cars, personalities that are in that as well. Those are great series that people should be paying attention to. Yeah, I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant. Nitro Performance Guy says you never know who can win. It's amazing. It really is. It really is. And being an 80s baby, seeing a lot of the young racing, I know some have seen even back into the 70s, but these are the best times right now. The competition is stout, and a lot of cars are pretty even. And when you have a track like we had in Virginia, it's possible that Norwalk's going to be a little bit warm as well. It really does even the playing field. But I think even on some of the great tracks, that playing field has been pretty even. Where the weather isn't as warm. I just think that there's always a thin line between love and hate, right? When we're talking about these cars. You're either going to go or blow. Sometimes those guys who make a lot of horsepower live on the edge, and the edge sometimes comes up and bites them. That's what makes the sport great. And then those cars that may not make the plethora of horsepower, but they sure enough know how to make a car go A to B. And that's why you've seen the upsets that we've seen in early rounds. So, let's not forget, I think Dave Richards went to the semis, and they found it that day. So it's fun. It's good times. Memphis Lonnie says, kiddos to Justin Ashley race team. Unlike Pro Stock, Justin won't walk over to Coletta Pit and wave his Wally in their faces. He's much too classy for that. Yeah, I don't even know what they're going to do with that. I know they were not interested. I know National Dragster wanted to take pictures, all that good stuff. They didn't want no part of that. Didn't want it that way, and I don't blame them. That it's nobody wants to win like that. Nobody wants to win like that. They'll take the win, of course, because they have no choice. But I think if they had the option, they didn't want that at all. So, interesting. Speaks a lot to him, though. But Justin's always been classy. He has always been wise beyond his years. First time I met that kid, it's like you thought he was like my age. I mean, very well, very well taught, well mannered, understands the business. He's super smart, man, and classy guy. Classy guy. Dragons Mayhem says PDRA and MWDRS is from the spring to fall. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys' participation in all this. We went over, but it was well worth it. That's what we do. When things are going, we have a good conversation. Things are going, we got to keep the conversation going. So that's what we do here. Yeah. So we move on. Norwalk. Back to back, baby. We don't have to wait for drag racing. It's going to happen this weekend. Should be quite interesting this weekend. Glad that I really wish they would have been in Virginia. That would have been nice to carry that over into Virginia, but not happening. But we get it. Right back here in Norwalk, should be a great race. I'm looking forward to seeing if Sean Langdon and the team come out there with a chip on their shoulder and try to get a W and get that trophy back. It should be fun. Again, there are teams that have to make a move now if you want to have any type of success in the countdown. You have to make a move now. Some are doing that. Some are kind of hanging around in no man's land, and that's never good. That's never good at all. And if you want to win a championship, it's got to go now. We've got 3 races in the fourth quarter, 2 races in the 3 races in the third quarter, 2 races in the fourth quarter, and we're about to come up on race 2 in this third quarter of the regular season, which will leave us 4 total races left. So there's not much time in the regular season to start making a positive move so that you can propel yourself, hopefully, to a championship. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching the Not Bland Show. I want to thank Drag Race Bracket Bonanza for sponsoring this show, Everything Nitro for their support, our stats, our stat people, where we go, Drag Race Reference, and of course, sportsjourney.com. I'm Dystany Bland. Until next Tuesday, good night, everybody. And join me